Did you realize that showing respect goes well beyond following the rules? It serves as the foundation for all human communication. However, what if I told you that this film may utterly mislead you in how you interpret respect? We'll dispel one of the most widespread myths about interpersonal relationships and show you how disrespect not only ruins relationships, but also jeopardizes your mental and physical health. Join us for a revolutionary discovery that could completely change the way you see the world. Discover how to uphold your dignity and fix your interpersonal relationships. As always, please feel free to share your experiences and opinions in the comments section below. Let's start with a persistent lack of respect. Respect encompasses more than just civility. It is the cornerstone of all positive and fruitful human relationships. Actions that diminish or disregard someone's dignity serve as warning signs of persistent disrespect. These kinds of actions may take many different forms, such as persistent disruptions. Each of these actions undercuts the trust and security necessary for any successful connection, whether it is in the form of harmful criticism or a purposeful disregard for the emotional needs of another person. If this disrespectful behavior continues, it's obvious that the relationship is becoming worse and might even endanger the person's mental health. In these situations, pulling away from someone is a kind of self-defense rather than an act of abandonment. Preserving mental tranquility and personal integrity is crucial in order to avoid the deterioration of self-worth and the accumulation of animosity. Resolving to remove oneself from a harmful relationship requires bravery and self-respect. By considering these exchanges, we may evaluate our own morals and renew our dedication to individual dignity. Any respectable and long-lasting relationship must have well-defined limits that are both established and maintained. These limits provide an atmosphere where mutual respect may thrive, in addition to providing protection from emotional strain and wear and tear. We give ourselves the opportunity for personal development and rejuvenation when we confront and acknowledge the persistent disrespect. We come to appreciate those who treat us with the dignity we are due and to not put up with any less. This is a moment to consider the importance of respect in our lives and how its absence may be detrimental to people individually, as well as the larger societal fabric. Developing better and more satisfying relationships requires recognizing these indications and responding appropriately. Adverse impacts on mental well-being. Relationships that constantly cause us to feel stressed, depressed, or anxious are very harmful to our capacity to live virtuously and healthily every day, as well as to the tranquility that we all want. Seeking mental peace is something that the Stoic philosophy emphasizes as necessary for practicing virtue and leading a decent life. Yet engaging in relationships that consistently upset this emotional equilibrium runs counter to that objective. When we are in emotionally unstable environments, we can suffer from a decline in our mental health. This can show up as physical problems like fatigue, sleeplessness, or digestive problems, but it can also show up as emotional discomfort. These symptoms are a clear indication that something in our relationships is not healthy and should be carefully considered. Recognizing the detrimental effects of these relationships is the first step in making a change. Limiting or cutting off communication with people who continue to cause us emotional distress is just one example of the tough choices we must make in order to protect our mental health. By removing ourselves from harmful influences and rearranging our connections, we are affirming our right to a healthy environment that promotes personal growth and engaging in a crucial act of self-care. We are strengthening our capacity to live more completely and morally, in addition to protecting our mental health. Seeking help from friends, family, or mental health experts may be part of this process. These individuals may provide the direction and encouragement we need to achieve emotional stability and strengthen our commitment to leading moral lives. By fostering and preserving connections that uplift and encourage us, we reaffirm our dedication to peace and virtue, two fundamental components of a really happy existence. Genuine and meaningful connections occur because of misaligned values or the compatibility of values between people. Moral dilemmas, which can lead to intense internal conflicts, arise when we frequently find ourselves at odds with ethical principles and personal values. These disagreements are not just differences of opinion, They touch on the core of who we are and what we believe to be just and right. Constantly confronting values that contradict our own can erode our inner peace and compromise. Living authentically while in a perpetual state of ethical disarray is like attempting to find your way around an uncharted area without a map, where every choice you make appears to contradict your core values and moral principles. Because we may begin to doubt our own identity and ideals in an attempt to adapt or embrace opposing values, this misalignment may cause a slow loss of self-confidence and self-esteem. Stress, worry, and a sense of alienation from oneself and other people might then result from this. As a result, it's critical to identify and address these value differences early on. Setting boundaries for what constitutes appropriate behavior in our relationships may also help to maintain our integrity and sense of self. This might sometimes include cutting down on or ceasing communication with people whose values sharply diverge from our own. Making these tough decisions is crucial to preserving our identity and creating a space where we may live in accordance with our own ideals. By taking these actions, we uphold our commitment to living an honest life, while simultaneously safeguarding our mental health. Staying true to our beliefs, these acts not only help us overcome internal problems, but also open the door to more meaningful relationships built on a sincerely shared set of values, rather than leaving us feeling empty all the time. When our encounters with someone consistently deplete us, a good relationship shouldn't be a cause of ongoing exhaustion, but rather a refuge of mutual support and renewal. This is a worrying indication that we could be moving away from our true selves and our potential may not be reaching its full potential in the relationship. This tiredness may show itself in a number of ways, such as feeling emotionally spent after meetings, getting excited about things that used to make you happy, or even just having a constant sense of sadness or anxiety. These symptoms suggest that the relationship is not providing as much positive energy as it is draining, affecting both our physical and emotional well-being. Moreover, a relationship that constantly saps our energy might stand in the way of our ability to succeed both personally and professionally. These connections hold us back rather than advancing us, keeping us from realizing our full potential and moving toward personal satisfaction. Finding this dynamic requires knowing when we are in a cycle of continual depletion. We need to think about reassessing, reorganizing, or terminating these relationships. Setting sensible limits is crucial to safeguarding our health and making sure that our relationships are opportunities for mutual development and enrichment. Self-care alone is not enough to ensure our well-being. Releasing ourselves from draining relationships is a critical step to ensuring that we are surrounded by individuals who positively contribute to our lives, enabling us to thrive and strive to be our best selves. We create room for new relationships that really appreciate and enliven our souls. Emotional or behavioral manipulation, on the other hand, is a grave transgression of the Stoic ideals of honesty and authenticity, which are crucial for establishing sincere and civilized bonds. This kind of conduct entails the use of devious strategies for control or persuasion. Others often conceal their genuine objectives when lying. Relationships with manipulative components substantially impair the capacity of persons who are persuaded to make free and informed decisions by warping their perspective of reality. When we are being manipulated, our judgment is impaired, making it difficult for us to assess the circumstances and arrive at logical conclusions. More than that, manipulation assaults human integrity and dignity by preying on emotional weaknesses in order to get personal benefits. This might result in a condition of uncertainty and indecision where we are never confident about our own judgments and choices. This kind of action damages the other person's self-esteem and emotional health, in addition to undermining mutual respect and trust. As a result, it's critical to identify and address instances of manipulation in our relationships. By recognizing these actions, we may take action to safeguard our independence and morality. This might include setting clear limits or, in other situations, rejecting and eliminating manipulation's impact on our lives in order to fully disengage from the manipulative relationship. We reaffirm our dedication to the principles of sincerity and genuineness. This is an essential stage in maintaining our capacity for making discernible decisions and upholding our dignity and respect for others, both of which promote better and more respectful relationships. Please remember to like, and more importantly, comment on this if you're enjoying it. Your feedback helps me reach a wider audience, and of course, if you think this stuff is worthwhile, subscribe. Now let's go on. Insufficient faith. In every kind of connection, whether it be social, professional, or personal, trust is the cornerstone. When trust is lacking or eroded over time, it may seriously rock the foundations of our most important relationships. We discover that we are unable to unwind and express our actual ideas and emotions since we are always alert. This constant alertness not only obstructs the formation of a profound and significant connection, but it also fosters an atmosphere of unease and tension devoid of trust. Every gesture or statement made by the other might be taken with suspicion, and even the smallest miscommunication has the capacity to turn into a major confrontation. A vicious circle of anxiety and insecurity where neither partner feels safe or respected might result from this climate of mutual mistrust. Furthermore, a lack of trust impairs our capacity to fully open up, which limits our capacity to be genuine and vulnerable with others. Being vulnerable helps individuals express their concerns, hopes, and aspirations, which is essential for developing meaningful and authentic connections. Relationships without it often stay shallow and functionally constrained, identifying and taking care of. Thus, the absence of trust is necessary to bring our relationships back to their original purity. Rebuilding broken trust may be facilitated by having an honest and open discussion about any uncertainties or fears that each person may be experiencing. It can also be accomplished by making and keeping explicit promises. To assist with this process, it may sometimes be necessary to enlist the aid of a therapist or mediator. By making the effort to restore trust, overcoming these obstacles is an essential first step in creating a setting where everyone concerned may feel respected, protected, and understood. In addition to mending broken connections, we are improving our own capacity for meaningful and honest communication with the people and things around us. If you're enjoying this, don't miss the chance to buy the ebook Stoicism in the 21st Century, Ancient Strategies for Modern Challenges. With this ebook link in the pinned comment, you can unlock your prosperity and abundance and improve your relationships. Abuse of any kind, whether it be verbal, physical, emotional, or psychological, represents a serious transgression against Stoic principles that value people's mutual respect and dignity. In addition to causing the victim immediate and severe harm, this kind of abuse undermines the moral foundation of interpersonal relationships and strikes at the core of what it is to be honorable and decent. Remaining in an abusive dynamic is incompatible with the pursuit of a virtuous and balanced life, as advocated by the Stoics, who see harmony of spirit and peace of mind as goals to be pursued. Therefore, deciding to leave an abusive relationship is a fundamental step, not only in protecting against further harm, but in reaffirming one's own value and respect for oneself. Ending abusive relationships is not just an act of self-care. Given the potential for social isolation and the development of emotional dependence that abuse may bring about, this process may be difficult. To get through this challenging time, it is crucial to ask friends, family, or trained experts for assistance. We are selecting a road to healing and reaffirmation of our dignity when we decide to exit such relationships. It's a chance to redefine what we expect from ourselves and others in terms of behavior and interaction, and to reconstruct life on the pillars of respect for oneself and one another. By actively working to eradicate abuse from our lives, we are demonstrating our dedication to higher moral standards and our never-ending search for the respect and well-being that every individual is entitled to. Lack of progress or reciprocity, relationships that do not promote mutual support or personal development, may produce a stagnant atmosphere that severely restricts both our capacity to positively impact others and our own personal progress. In addition to slowing down our individual development, this lack of advancement and assistance may also keep us from realizing our greatest potential in a happy partnership. It is believed that development and support are crucial elements that both enhance the individual and fortify the relationship between people. Without these components, relationships risk becoming one-sided or just functional, with interactions limited to meeting commitments or keeping up appearances, rather than being mutually beneficial. To ensure that we are in a setting that not only recognizes and honors our contributions, but also promotes and celebrates our development and well-being, it is essential that we routinely assess the dynamics of our interactions in order to establish true connection and mutual enrichment. In situations where mutual support and ongoing development are routinely lacking, this assessment may highlight the need to talk about shared expectations and objectives and modify the course of interactions so that both parties may grow and gain. It could be essential to re-evaluate whether these partnerships are sustainable in the long run. Taking action to revitalize or readjust these relationships can open up new possibilities for personal and collective growth, transforming stagnant interactions into sources of inspiration and progress. This in turn strengthens our ability to live more fully and contribute positively to the lives of others, aligning our relationships with our deepest values and aspirations. It may not always entail an abrupt breakup. Instead, it may involve redefining or redirecting how interactions occur, ensuring that both partners can thrive and develop. Healthy relationships need a balance between giving and receiving, and persistently being selfish is a sign of a commitment to reciprocity and respect for one another. When one side constantly behaves selfishly, putting their own demands before the others, this is an obvious vie. Stoicism, which emphasizes moderation and justice in deeds, is one of these fundamental ideals that is violated under these circumstances. Since the philosophy stresses the need for fairness and emotional equilibrium in all relationships, the continuation of such selfishness may progressively weaken any relationship's base and cause it to become unbalanced and one-sided. When someone constantly feels ignored or devalued, it not only compromises the mutual support system that is essential for a happy relationship, but also has a detrimental effect on both parties' capacity to keep composure and uphold moral principles. This may result in bitterness and irritation, which may worsen if left unchecked. For any relationship to continue, it is essential that individuals recognize and confront selfish acts when they occur. In order to restore a balance where both parties feel appreciated and respected, this may include having an honest discussion about each person's needs and expectations. To guarantee that reciprocity and respect are restored, it could sometimes be essential to re-evaluate the dynamics of the relationship or establish clear limits. By creating an atmosphere where compassion and understanding rule, resolving these issues not only preserves each person's integrity as an individual, but also fortifies the partnership as a whole, enabling it to develop in a more harmonic and balanced manner. We reaffirm our dedication to the Stoic values of justice and virtue, which are crucial for both individual and group growth. We also recognize that meaningful relationships are built on destructive communication, and that our interactions with one another have a significant influence on our shared understanding and connection. There may be serious consequences for emotional stability and tranquility when the communication style shifts to one that is primarily critical, negative, or destructive. Stoics who appreciate harmony and balance in interpersonal relationships believe that positive and productive communication is crucial, striving for the development and well-being of all parties. Changes are evident when a communication pattern continuously has a negative impact on us. In settings where words are used to weaken rather than to strengthen, this kind of contact not only erodes mutual trust and respect, but may also cause emotional exhaustion, irritation, and isolation between participants. Restoring positivity in communication within any relationship loses sight of the primary purpose of communication, which is to connect and enhance people's lives. Destructive patterns must be recognized and dealt with immediately. Establishing clear communication channels and standards that decry negativity and promote polite, honest discussion may be necessary to achieve this. In some situations, it might be helpful to refocus communication in the direction of a healthier and more fruitful course with the help of a mediator or counselor. Encouraging communication is an investment in the relationship's overall quality as well as the emotional health of all parties involved. By doing this, we create an atmosphere where everyone may feel heard, respected, and appreciated, in addition to adhering to Stoic ideals of uplifting relationships. Maintaining long-lasting and meaningful relationships requires shifting harmful communication habits to constructive ones in order to make sure they serve as sources of development and support for both parties. In every relationship, disregarding one's own needs is unacceptable. Healthy and balanced relationships depend on each person's needs and limits being respected and considered. The dignity and inner tranquility of persons who practice Stoicism may be seriously jeopardized by their frequent disrespect for these demands, which is a major lack of respect. Respect and reciprocity are seen as essential to practicing virtue and maintaining emotional stability, not only as a matter of etiquette. A relationship may not be in line with your moral and ethical values if the other person constantly downplays or ignores your demands and limits. Constantly being invalidated may cause sentiments of insignificance and invisibleness, which are detrimental to one's capacity to live a life consistent with one's own ideals, as well as one's self-esteem. Furthermore, this carelessness might restrict your chances to live really and completely by getting in the way of your own progress and development. To make sure that your relational environment is in line with the principles of respect and concern for one another, it is essential to identify and deal with this dynamic within relationships. It is crucial to express your demands and expectations in a relationship in a straightforward and concise manner in order to address this circumstance, as it is much appreciated in Stoicism. To preserve your dignity and foster an atmosphere of respect for one another, you may need to set and maintain hard limits. In some situations, it could be crucial to reevaluate, make adjustments, or terminate partnerships that don't honor your basic requirements by taking action to make sure they're met. You not only improve your own standing in the relationships you're in, but you also foster an atmosphere that encourages integrity and mutual respect, which makes partnerships healthier and more fulfilling. Lack of mutual accountability. Mutual accountability enables both partners to fairly share responsibility for their acts, as well as the dynamics of the partnership as a whole. It is necessary in every healthy relationship. An atmosphere of imbalance and apparent unfairness may result from a lack of accountability, particularly when one of the parties involved continuously refuses to take responsibility for their share of mistakes or disputes. This conduct may substantially undermine the relationship's foundation of trust and emotional stability, in addition to being in direct opposition to Stoic values of fairness and honesty. When one partner abstains from accountability, it often puts the other in a situation where they have to make up for it, which results in an unfair burden. If this imbalance is not corrected, it may cause emotions of anger and irritation and eventually weaken the mutual respect and trust that are essential to the survival of any relationship. It is essential that both parties make a commitment to candid self-evaluation and open communication about their acts and the results of those actions in order to overcome these issues. This entails owning up to mistakes, offering heartfelt apologies, and working genuinely to stop harmful actions from happening again. Encouraging reciprocal accountability in a relationship not only complies with Stoic teachings but also fortifies the framework of the relationship, fostering a climate in which justice and trust can flourish by developing this dynamic relationship to become more equitable and balanced and giving all parties involved a strong platform for continuous personal development. Now that you are aware of the vital role that respect plays in relationships and how its absence may negatively impact both your personal and relationship health, we encourage you to consider how you might use these newfound insights in your day-to-day activities. Change starts with awareness and becomes concrete with action. Please feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Your participation will greatly enhance our conversation. If you found this video useful, please think about subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our next videos. Together, we can create relationships that are more polite and healthy. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you later.